Welcome to The Secret Life of a Song. In this audio program, we'll go backstage and behind the scenes to find out what really makes a good song tick, from the bare-bones song structure to the creatively inspired musical moves that give it its magic. All songs originate as something simple, a lyric and some guitar chords, or maybe an instrumental groove or a riff that popped out of nowhere. But ultimately, when the song is developed and arranged to be played by a band or to be recorded, it gets built out to become something much, much bigger and more complex. In this process, many intentional musical decisions are made, and it's these decisions that make the song unique. Of all the possible sounds, notes, tones, moods, and lyrics in the universe, which ones were chosen to flesh out this song and why? When a band or even a duet creates an arrangement for a song, often with the help of a producer or arranger, they will consider which instruments will be used, what will their tone and mood be, how will they relate to one another throughout the song, what is the structure of the song, and how do the various sections unfold and relate? What's the overall arc of the song arrangement? And what makes this song unique and different from every other song out there? Then, learning to play the song as a cover is more than just learning where to put your fingers on your instrument. If you're learning to play the song as a cover, you'll want to pay attention to how your part relates to every other musician's role in the song. You'll want to pay attention to how the song unfolds dynamically. Where's the drama? And where are the quiet parts? And where are the loud parts? And how does your instrument interact with the bigger picture of the song as a whole? In this program, we'll look at 3 fully produced songs and reveal the underlying sensibilities that went into making the song work as a whole piece. We'll put each song into a musical X-ray machine and find out just what it is made of. Specifically, let's take a look at the overall personality of the song. Like, what's the point of the song? What's the mood? What genre and influences are you hearing? And what's the overall mission of this song? We'll look at the structure of the song, for instance, verses, choruses, bridges, etc. And we'll look at any repeating musical motifs within the song. How and when do they occur and reoccur? Which instruments play them, and when and how? We'll look at the individual instruments as characters with personalities and how they interact with each other within the song. What are the instruments, and what is the tone and feel of each one? What you'll take away from this program is a much greater understanding of how you and your instrument fit into the song as a whole piece. It's not just about where you put your fingers and how you play your parts. It's about how you and your instrument are essential to the secret life of a song. Let's begin this program by all getting on the same page about terminology and what we're talking about in terms of the secret life of a song. And let's start that discussion by talking a little bit about song structure. When I talk about song structure, I'm talking about the various parts of a song, how they unfold as you go through the song from start to finish, and how they relate to one another. I think the best way to do this is to talk through a typical song structure. You will find that many songs you play will follow this exact structure, and many songs you play will follow some variation of this structure. So starting right at the top, most songs will have some sort of an intro, and generally the intro is instrumental. It may be a little riff that repeats over and over, or it may be a longer musical phrase. And in general, it will serve to introduce some sort of a melodic or riff idea that you will hear again throughout the song, either played by that same instrument or played by different instruments later on in the song. So right off the top, we have the intro. Then it usually goes into a verse. Lyrically speaking, this first verse will often introduce the idea of the song, not the main idea, not the overarching idea, but will begin to tell the story of what this song is about. In terms of the energy of the verse, this first verse is generally a little bit lower energy than we'll find later on in the song, because you want the energy of the song to build gradually throughout the song itself. So the very first verse is basically your introductory paragraph to what this song is all about. In terms of the instrumentation in the verse, what instruments are being played and what they're playing, that too generally has kind of an introductory feel to it, in the sense that it's not everybody playing all their stuff at once, but we're saving up some goodies for later on in the song. Again, the first verse just kind of laying the foundation for where we're getting started with this song that's about to unfold. As the first verse comes to an end, there's frequently a short musical interlude at that point, and you may hear in this interlude a repeat or some kind of an echo of whatever musical idea was introduced in the intro of the song. So up to this point, we've had an intro, a single verse, and a short musical interlude, and then we'll go frequently into another verse. Lyrically, this second verse will go on to tell more of the story of the song. And instrumentally, this second verse will commonly be very similar to the first verse, though it may have slightly more going on, slightly more energy or slightly more instrumentation going on as the overall arc of the song continues to grow and build towards the chorus. As we get through that second verse and into the chorus, the energy of the song at this point is likely to take quite a jump. Lyrically, the chorus is stating the main idea of the song. If you remembered nothing else about this song after one or two listens, you'd remember the chorus. The chorus is everything we've been building up to up until this point. It's time for a payoff, so the energy gets big and the message gets simple and to the point. After the chorus, there's likely to be another little musical interlude. It may be similar to the intro or the interlude that was between the first two verses in the song. Musically, melodically, it will probably have some very strong echoes, if not direct repeats from those sections. But also listen for differences in terms of maybe extra instrumentation or higher levels of energy, because we've just come off that chorus, and frequently we want to keep the energy high at that point. At this point, following that first chorus and a little interlude, we're likely to go into a third verse. And this verse is likely to be rather similar to the second verse in energy and instrumentation, just as a way of establishing pattern. Pattern is really important in good songs. And so if we keep some elements the same and or repetitive and or echoing of each other, we're establishing pattern and expectation within the song. So we're on this third verse right after the first chorus, and we're expecting it to be pretty similar to things we've heard before in the first and second verses. The next likely thing to happen is another chorus, and this chorus may be very much the same as the first chorus, or it may be a little bit bigger in energy and in instrumentation. The fact that it is likely to be so similar to the first chorus is again establishing pattern. Now we've heard the chorus twice, and we're beginning to get an expectation of how those choruses are going to go every time we hear them. The most delicious thing about establishing pattern is breaking the pattern. This serves to wake up the listener just when they thought they knew exactly what was going to happen next. And that will frequently happen right here at this point in the song. We're about 2/3 of the way through a typical song. We've had an intro, 2 verses, a chorus, another verse, and another chorus. We're about 2/3 of the way through, and just when you thought, oh, well, it must be time for another verse, we go someplace completely different into a bridge. Now, a bridge happens only once during the song, most likely, and will also be quite a departure from what we've already heard so far. If it's a bridge with lyrics, it's likely that the lyrical perspective itself will change during the bridge, that the chords will change, and even the rhythm may change. Also, the instrumentation may change there. Even if it's not a lyrical bridge, this may be the place in the song for an instrumental break or a solo. Again, something very different from what we've heard already in the song. As the bridge comes to a close, we're ready to go into the home stretch of the song, and frequently what will happen right here is a chorus or even a double chorus. Remember that the chorus is the higher energy part of the song and the main point of the song lyrically. Going into a chorus or even a double chorus at this late juncture in the song ensures that we'll end the song with a bang, and we'll end the song with the main point left on your mind. In terms of what the instruments are playing at this point in the song, it's likely to get real energetic, and it's likely to have many, if not all of the instruments available, all playing in this section. And at this point, we're ready to end the song. And this section of the song is called the outro, the opposite of the intro. The outro could go a variety of ways, but every song has to end sometime. So perhaps it is a long, slow fade out. Or perhaps all the instruments play and end together with a big bang. Or maybe there's an orchestrated and intentional return to the idea that was introduced way back at the beginning of the song in the intro. So there we have it, the quick anatomy of a basic song structure. Keep in mind that each of these sections, the intro, the verses, the interludes, the chorus, the bridge, and the outro, all have their own distinct personalities and energies, and all work together to create the totality of the song. If you're learning to play this song, you want to ask yourself about each of those sections and what your role should be, how loud you should play, how you should interact with the other instruments that are playing, how you should interact with whether or not there are vocals and lyrics at that time, what the tone and energy of your instrument should be in each of those sections. Now, just to avoid any confusion when we actually get into listening to songs, there is one kind of verse structure that we didn't discuss in this theoretical model of a song, and that's a verse that leads into a pre-chorus. A pre-chorus is kind of like the second section of a verse. Energetically, a pre-chorus will generally hit kind of a halfway point between the lower energy of the verse and the higher energy of the chorus towards which you're headed. The pre-chorus serves to kind of bridge that gap and ramp up the energy as you're getting ready to launch into the chorus. We'll hear clear examples of all these song structure elements in this program when we're listening to the actual songs. And now for a little bit of listening homework for you. When you're listening to songs on your MP3 player or on the radio, ask yourself if you can hear these structural elements. Do you hear an intro? Do you hear verses? A pre-chorus? Chorus? Where's the bridge and what are they doing with it? How are they making the bridge be different from every other part of the song? How does the song come to an end? And what is the overall arc of the energy of the song from start to finish? As you develop your ear for identifying these parts of the song and how they interact, you'll also be growing your skills as an instrumentalist as you do your part to participate in the secret life of a song. In this section of The Secret Life of a Song, let's take a look at the cast of characters within a song, who they are, and what they do. Now, by cast of characters, I mean, of course, the instruments, and that includes a singer. Whether it's a solo performer, a duet, or a full band, each instrument or character brings its own personality and capabilities to the party. It's how these characters all work together that make the song work as a whole. At the core of most band arrangements of a song is what's called the rhythm section. The rhythm section is usually comprised of the drum and or percussion, the bass, and another rhythm instrument or two, and that may be rhythm guitar and or rhythmic keyboard. This combination, drum and percussion, bass, and rhythmic instrument, blend together to what's called the rhythm section. And the job of the rhythm section is to lay a foundation for the song, for the other instruments that may have more of a solo role or may have more of a spotlight shined on them to have a foundational musical platform on which to operate. Since the job of the rhythm section is to lay this solid foundation on which the rest of the song can function, it's important that each of the instruments of the rhythm section are really aware of their role in that rhythm section and work together very cooperatively. You don't want anyone kind of vying for the spotlight in there when the whole purpose of the rhythm section is a team effort to create a single effect. With this single effect being the creation of a solid foundation for the song, this gives the other instruments a good floor on which to dance, but still they have to dance with each other, or it's just going to be mayhem. Other instruments could be additional guitars, additional keyboard, horns, vocalists, harmony vocalists, you name it. What's important is that each of these instruments realizes it's got an important role in the song. Plus, it's equally important to be fully aware of how each instrument is supposed to interact with the rhythm section and the other instruments in the song. This is what adds up to the song having a really solid and unified feel. Now, before we dive into the music, let's just talk about a couple of terms I'll be using when we get into looking closely at the secret life of a song. The first of these terms is dynamics. And to simplify it, it is really looking at loudness and softness and every degree of possibility in between, and how loudness and softness of how you play is used to create emotion and drama within a song. That's dynamics. The second term I want to mention is a motif. A motif is a musical idea, a melodic idea. It could be reflected in a riff played on a guitar or a riff played on a piano. It could be reflected in a solo section of the song itself. But it is something you will hear over and over, if not repeated directly, hinted at in one way or another throughout the song. That's a motif. So we've got our cast of characters, our instruments, broken down into the rhythm section and everyone else. And we've got our dynamics, the use of loudness and softness. And we have our motifs or melodic ideas. Now, let's go listen to some music. Let's take a look at this song called A Wing and a Prayer. You'll hear this song has sort of a lighthearted reggae influence. And that lighthearted playfulness carries on through the instrumentation of the song as well as through the lyrics. This song originated in the singer-songwriter genre with just an acoustic guitar and vocals, but you'll hear how the instruments work together to really give it a lot of extra life. Notice in the intro how the guitar and the keyboard are having kind of a conversation. One will say something and the other one will answer back. Meanwhile, the rhythm section, the drums and the bass, are working together to provide a solid foundation on which this conversation can take place.
Sitting on the tarmac in a jet.
And now getting into the verse, you can hear that everybody except the rhythm section has dropped back, and the rhythm section is joined by a rhythm guitar.
And it's filling up with people and their personal belongings. Then they're gonna fly this building to 37,000.
Going into a pre-chorus here, and a new character, the guitar with tremolo.
Reassure me.
The energy building towards the chorus, and here we go.
Dynamic theory, but I take it on faith.
New character, the background vocal.
Know the reason we're lifting away, climbing on the properties of air. Way up here I say it's time to start believing in the promise of a wing and a prayer.
Here's a motif, a musical idea.
Never gets you there. We are lying.
Going into a second verse. You can hear the electric guitar stays in this time. The second verse has a little more energy, a little more characterization than the first.
In a celestial dome, I am awestruck at the chances that two souls could find each other. Of the billions on the planet, you're the one who brings me home.
Pre-chorus.
My daily horoscope would say it's all about rising signs.
Building into the second chorus.
So great, but I take it on faith. I don't need to know the reason. We're lifting away, climbing on the properties of air. Way up here I say it's time to start believing in the promise of a wing and a prayer.
And just when you thought you knew what was going to happen next, we get to the bridge section, which in this case is a horn solo. Listen in the background underneath that horn solo for that motif that goes dun dun da da da. final pre-chorus.
My daily horoscope would say it's all about rising signs and retrogrades. But
Final chorus, and we've really got everybody in there doing their best.
To know the reason we're lifting away, climbing on the properties of air. Way up here I say it's time to start believing in the promise of a wing and a...
Going into a double chorus.
I take it on faith, I don't need to know the reason. We're lifting away, climbing on the properties of air. Way up here I say it's time to start believing.
Now going into the outro, how this song is going to come to an end.
In the promise of a wing and a prayer.
There's that motif again. And the background vocalist to shine a light on his singing a little bit.
Whatever gets you there. Whatever gets you there.
In this song, we're going for a fade out with everybody on deck. So there you can hear a really clear example of song structure with an intro, verses with pre-choruses, regular choruses, a bridge that is an instrumental horn solo, a musical motif that goes doot, 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 that you hear in all sorts of places around the song, played by different instruments in different ways. Notice that nobody drowns each other out. They all have their own time and place in which to do their thing. That's the various characters working together to create the whole of the song. At the end of this program, I'll put all the songs in their entirety, plus instrumental versions, so you can really just listen with me staying out of the way and hear all these different elements working together. But first, let's go listen and discover the secret life of another song. This song that we're going to take a look at is called This Is a Kiss. We'll hear that it starts off with a strong musical motif that gets introduced by the acoustic guitar, but then quickly picked up by another instrument that's a bit of a surprise. This motif conversation that happens in the intro is supported, of course, by the rhythm section, a very light drum kit, and a bass. As we get into the verse, you'll hear that it's a very lyrically driven song, and that it has kind of an exotic, eerie vibe to it, which gets picked up and expanded greatly in the chorus as the energy builds and some influences of Bollywood music production are introduced. As we get into the second verse, you'll hear new elements staying in that weren't in the first verse, again developing the arc of the song by building the energy gradually over the whole thing. And as we get to the bridge, you'll hear a classic bridge departure from the rest of the structure of the song. Everything changes there, right down to the effects on the vocal. So let's do a guided tour listen to This Is a Kiss. And this starts right off with that musical motif introduced by the acoustic guitar and the bass, supported by the drums. And then it's joined by a cello.
It's a law of metaphysics. What you focus on expands. What you first saw as a particle now overflows your hands. When I focus on this moment, it grows to fill the frame. Whatever's clamoring for my notice will have to wait.
Energy will build into the chorus.
This is a kiss.
And it really blossoms with a Bollywood feel, background vocals, hand percussion on a tabla, finger bells, a distant, eerie guitar riff, and a drone.
It's not to be missed. All that there is. This is a kiss. This is a kiss.
Now you hear how we're melting back into a verse structure here.
There's plenty of time for trouble.
New element introduced of the echo vocals.
I'm walking around in my bubble till you stop me for a kiss.
The bell stays in from the chorus.
This moment I will the world away. The bozos and bad components will have to wait.
And we build again to another chorus.
This is a kiss. This is souls touching lips. This is not to be missed. All that there is. This is a kiss.
So we've had a verse, a chorus, another verse, another chorus. We're about 2/3 of the way through this song, and it's time to go into the bridge. Listen to what happens here.
So all you preoccupied lovers, don't forget what love can do.
Whole different feel on the drums, very dry vocal, no bass, a very present acoustic guitar.
Back to you.
And then the bass comes back, the drums stay in, but we lose the guitar.
Or half a day. And if it makes you late, just own it. The world can wait.
And back into that final chorus with the energy high and everybody in doing their part, staying out of each other's way, but having musical conversations.
This is not to be missed. All that there is. This is a kiss.
And a double chorus to bring the song home. The energy is high in here. Listen to the hand drums.
This is souls touching lips. This is not to be missed. All that there is. This is a kiss. This is a kiss.
And we return to that musical motif that was introduced right at the top of the intro. And it's really brought full circle here by the drone and the electric guitar sound from the chorus staying in as we go into the outro of the song. This song originated as a guitar and vocal singer-songwriter song, and I will include the original guitar and vocal solo acoustic version at the end of this program so you can hear what the producer had to work with and where he might have gotten some of his ideas as to what kind of influences to bring into this song in the fully produced version and what instruments to use to create those effects that he wanted to hear. It's all these decisions and the way the instrumentalists play them out that create the secret life of a song. Now let's take a guided audio tour and discover the secret life of this song called Cassie's Inner Circle. This song originated with just an acoustic guitar and lyrics, the singer-songwriter style, and it's about a woman and her group of friends that the narrator of the song, the singer of the song, thinks are just really cool, and the narrator really wants to be part of their scene. So we're taking some of the mood of the lyrics to influence the instrumentation and the vibe of the music that fills out this arrangement of the song. Even though the song originated with just acoustic guitar, and the acoustic guitar is present all through the arrangement, you'll hear the introduction of a saxophone and also some electric guitar that gives it kind of a loungy, cocktail party kind of a feel, which is perfectly appropriate for the story that's being told in the verses and the chorus and the bridge. For how the instruments help to define the various sections of the song as we build through the song from start to finish. Listen also for how they stay out of each other's way and have musical conversations with various musical motifs that you'll hear throughout the song. Listen for how the melodic instruments, like the saxophone, are doing their thing on top of the nice solid foundation that is laid by the rhythm section being the bass, the drums, and the acoustic guitar. So let's go on a behind-the-scenes tour now of the song Cassie's Inner Circle. We'll start with a little melodic motif introduced by the acoustic guitar that you'll hear throughout the song, and it goes into a conversation between the acoustic guitar and the saxophone, all supported by the rhythm section. Going into the first verse, we've got our cocktail party vibe established, and the first verse will start to tell the story of the song.
The first time I laid eyes on Cassie, I knew she had that thing. She's got a style, she's got some sassy, that je ne sais quoi zing. We're at a party of a mutual friend. I introduced myself and then Cassie's laughing with her friends. I swirl my drink and listen in. Cassie.
Going into the second verse, the lyrics offer more explanation about what this song is all about, all leading up to the chorus where the main point will be revealed.
With tales from way back when, the things they do, they sound so cool. How do you get into that school? So I'm the new kid on the street. Could they find a place for
Going into the chorus,
I wanna be.
we have the introduction of a cool little rhythm instrument, the güero, and background vocals.
Wouldn't it be sweet? Cassie's inner circle.
Here we are in verse 3. Again, the lyrics offering even more explanation of why this narrator wants to be a part of this gang. And the arrangement stays a little more energetic. We're keeping the electric guitar and the horn in there for more of a party atmosphere.
I think I'd be a nice addition. I make a killer bouillabaisse. I'd chip in, I'd do the dishes. Let me make my case. I wanna be.
So we're building the arc of the song as we go.
In Cassie's inner circle. Wouldn't it be sweet? Sweet. Cassie's inner circle.
Now we're about 2/3 of the way through the song, so we go into the bridge. Everything changes here. The drum feel, the chords, and the instrumentation.
As far as I can go. After all, I should be a realist. Still, a girl can hope that one fine day the phone will ring and Cassie's on the other end, saying, "Come to this little cocktail thing, just you and a few of our."
Heading into the final choruses.
Look at me. Look at me.
We've got everybody in there playing along. We've got the saxophone and the electric guitar. It's a party.
Circle. Hey, dreams are free. Dreams are free. Cassie's inner circle.
outro, where we keep all the same ideas, but play them and sing them a little bit differently.
Wouldn't it be sweet? Cassie's inner circle, dreams are free. Cassie's inner circle. Cassie's inner circle. Wouldn't it be sweet? Cassie's inner circle. Cassie's inner circle. Dreams are free. Cassie's inner circle. Dreams are free. Cassie's inner circle. Dreams are free.
So this song is a good example of a really clear story being told by the lyrics, where each of the verses offers supporting points of why this person seems so cool to the narrator, and the choruses just come right out and say what the main point is, which is, I want to be in her crowd. The instruments and the production decisions all play into creating the party atmosphere that really supports the story and makes it come to life. And as with the other songs, I will put the instrumental version and the fully produced version of this song at the end of this program, with me staying out of the way so you can really listen. And maybe you'll hear even more clues to the secret life of this song. I hope you've enjoyed these behind-the-scenes tours to the secret life of the songs Wingin' a Prayer, This Is a Kiss, and Cassie's Inner Circle. We've had a chance to talk a lot about song structure, the building blocks of the song, including the intro, the verse, the chorus, the bridge, and the outro, and the interludes, and how all those things work to create the arc of the song. We've had a chance to talk about the cast of characters in terms of what are the instruments that are being played and how do they interact with one another, when do they show up within the song, and when do they drop out. What role does each instrument play in filling out the whole arrangement of the song? And what role is played by the rhythm section, the bass and drums and perhaps another rhythm instrument as well? And we've had a look at the idea of a musical motif and the use of energy and dynamics to build drama and excitement within the song. The second half of this program is all music. I'm going to stay right out of your way and let you just listen. We'll listen to instrumental versions of each of the songs as well as the fully produced versions of each of the songs. Listen for all the things we talked about: song structure, characters, how the instruments interact. Also listen for new discoveries that you may make on your own of the secret life of each of these songs. If you're a musician yourself, think about how you could use the various points that we've talked about in this program to bring more life and distinction and uniqueness to the way you play each song. Do you pay attention to song structure and what your instrument's role should be in each of the sections of the song as it unfolds? Do you pay attention to the other instruments and how your instrument should relate to them in terms of volume, in terms of who gets a chance to play what and when, and in terms of having musical conversations using motifs that are introduced throughout the song? Are you using a tone on your instrument that's appropriate to the genre of the song? All right, enough questions. This is just some food for thought as we go into the listening portion of The Secret Life of a Song.